Hi everybody, and welcome to Just Saying. It is March 24th, 2014, and I am joined here, as I am every week, by my lovely, vivacious co-host, Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hello, Kim. I don't know that I'd call myself too vivacious tonight, but we'll think of something else by the end of the show you can call me. So how are you?
I'm lovely.
Awesome. The spring is here. We made it. We got this far. Now we just have to tell Mother Nature that it's springtime.
Right? We're 4 days in. She needs to eat her chocolate, get over her PMS, and move on with herself.
That's true. Any temper tantrums she already pulled, and so let's get into the nicer weather. Just looking around, you can tell spring's in the air. The robins, you can't even see my front yard for the robins that are all out there. And I noticed today that some of the trees have buds on them, and that's like, I like spring. What can I say?
Yeah, I have little bitty white flowers popping up all over the front of the store, and I have some Indian paintbrushes about that big so far. And
well, speaking of your store, I hear you have a new section in your store now.
I do, and it was added to today. We actually have a pet section now. That we have like little, right now it's Easter basket type things for dogs and cats. And then we have the collars, and there's an arthritis medicine for pets, and then there's another oil for strained muscles on pets and horses.
Oh, awesome. I like that arthritis thing because I run across a lot of people that contact me in regards to their dog has arthritis. And for those of you out there that have dogs and have been treating it, the medication is more expensive than people arthritis medication. So to be able to use those things, that's great.
Well, and you've used some of the oils, so you know they work.
Yes, I have. Yes. And who does the oils for you?
Ruth Coffee.
Give her a little plug.
Ruth Coffee.
Ruth Coffee.
It's
yeah,
called...
she's wonderful. As everybody knows, I've got bad knees, and I got some of the chronic pain oil from Kim, and I rubbed that on, and it seems to have been helping lately. So that's a good idea. And I do believe that all of her stuff is like if you lick it, you're not going to die.
Right, it's all natural, but with the animal stuff, last week she brought in the dog baskets, and they've got like a stuffed animal head, a bunny, a duck, and something else, and it's got little dog treats in there and a little comb. And then today she brought in cat ones that had, I think it's a can of either cat food or cat treats, a little ball that makes all kinds of noise, and a little catnip sack.
Oh, how nice. Oh, I'll have to check one of those out. So cool. So, and where if people want to get this online, how do they do that?
They go to MetallunaBoutiqueandStones.com.
Awesome. Anyway,
we're going to have...
We have, before we start the show, and bring in our guests, we have something serious that we need to talk about. It's something that happened yesterday at a place that's near and dear to us.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, many of you that travel the world of Facebook would have woke up to some disturbing news that Lorraine Irby had posted about Fort Mifflin. They had a fire there Saturday night during the night that occurred in the officers' quarters. Now, I haven't talked to Lorraine personally. I'm going by what everybody's posting on Facebook. Oh, well, I haven't talked to her today, but there's some serious damage that's done, and they're still assessing it. So once plans get into place for helping to restore, I really hope that everybody chips in and does their best, because we all love Fort Mifflin.
Absolutely. And
so,
it was the gentleman's quarters. It was the one place we couldn't get into when I was there.
No, officers' quarters. You're
That's
thinking
right.
Shanley Gentlemen's Quarters. That's
Right.
the yellow building where Elizabeth Pratt is supposed to be part of one of the haunts that's there. So they're thinking it was an electrical fire. And thank God that there was a Cub Scout troop there, and the troop leader I believe was a fireman, so he knew exactly what to do, and he called the fire department, and they got there pretty quickly. So.
Well, according to what I read this morning, it was actually an electrical fire in the attic.
Yes. And you know those attic fires are the worst because they spread a lot quicker than, say, like a corner in a room.
Yeah, because they go across the attic and then they go down.
Exactly. But speaking of the gentlemen's quarters, on a brighter note, Shanley Hotel, March 20th. Hey, that's this weekend. March 29th.
It is.
Yes, I will be there hosting an event along with Mark Sarro. So I don't know if there's any tickets left. I should have asked Sal. If there isn't, I'm sure there's a few where you can come and do some investigation. And don't miss out. Don't be looking in. You want to be looking out.
Well, and on other news, our little Miss Luna looks like she's about to pop.
Oh yeah, she is like so surprised and excited about all the things that I've got planned. So.
Well, I meant the cat at the shop, but yeah, Cynthia too.
Okay, go ahead.
Cynthia too. Yeah, we're due to have little bitty kitties. Now she lays down and goes to sleep, and you can actually see her whole stomach doing this number. So they're all over the place.
Can you imagine getting a Metaluna kitten?
They are going to be the cutest things ever.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of, let's get going with our show. I'm excited. One of my favorite people's on tonight.
This evening, our guest began investigating UFOs and the paranormal in '86. He has interviewed hundreds of witnesses and investigated a wide variety of paranormal phenomena. He's a field investigator for Mutual UFO Network, which is MUFON. Ghost hunter, paranormal researcher, author of 16 books and more than 100 articles on UFOs and paranormal. His archives appear in numerous magazines, including Fate, Atlantis Rising, MUFON UFO Journal. How I said that without twisting my tongue, I have no idea. Nexus Paranormal Magazine, UFO Magazine, Mystery Magazine, Ufologist, and others. Our guest for this evening is one of Mary's favorite people, Mr. Preston Dennett. Hi, Preston.
Hi, Kim. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Preston. You see me? I know you can see me. I can't see you, but you see me smiling?
I sure do.
This guy is terrific. I was lucky enough to meet him almost, well, you know, Preston, it'll be 2 years next month that we got together. Yeah, we had dinner over at Ginny's house. And we sat there for hours and just went on and on and on and on and on. And it was so cool because when you talk to people, well, this is the first time we're talking through Skype, but we've been on the phone talking. I've interviewed him a few times previous. And to sit down and actually meet somebody face to face, it was really nice. So I'm going to have to do it again. Ginny and I are actually planning on going on a cruise next year out of Long Beach. So we'll have to hook up again.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like fun.
So what have you been up to?
Oh, keeping busy, working during the day as a bookkeeper. It's boring, but it pays the bills. But at night, I'm doing so much writing these days.
Really?
So I just completed a book. Well, I missed my deadline, actually. UFOs over Nevada, but I finished it. So it's going to be out the end of this year, I believe. So I'm very excited about that.
Oh, yeah.
And,
add to my collection.
Yeah, I'm just working on all kinds of other stuff, UFO articles and things like that, and yeah, having a lot of fun.
Well, I know we're not going to be talking UFO talk tonight, but you know, we can't bring you on unless we touch base just a little bit. Anything new in the UFO world?
Well, let me see. I've been interviewing people here and there. I had a really interesting case in July of last year, which I'm still trying to follow up, in which a Boy Scout and his friends saw not one or two UFOs, but literally a couple hundred. And this is on the island of Santa Catalina, where I've got a number of other cases involving these many objects. I mean, it's crazy. I know how it sounds, but he's definitely a reputable witness. So that's an exciting case.
Did I mention the cruise I was taking, that we're planning on taking? Our first stop is Santa Catalina.
I know. Well, that's the first thing I thought when I heard Long Beach. I'm like, ooh, that's the hot spot. That's where all the underwater UFO activity is. So.
And if Ginny's out there listening, Ginny, I did not plan this particular adventure because of UFOs. She might want to cancel now. Who knows? How interesting. Well, I'm the kind, if I think there's something going to be there, I'm going to go, so might as well, squeeze it all in at once.
Well, it's definitely a hot spot. I mean, that's going to be the subject of one of my upcoming books for sure, because I think I have about 100 cases of these objects moving in and out of the water, and abductions to what appears to be an underground base.
Well, that's what I've been dying to talk to you about, so you have to get that book going, right, Kim? Weren't we just talking about that the other day, the underwater activity?
Yep.
Yep, and I know I keep bringing it up, and you're in the process of maybe writing one, so as soon as you get it together, you got to tell us, because I'm excited about that one. One of the things, Kim, I should let you ask the airplane thingy. Remember we were talking about that last week?
Oh, the missing airplane?
Yes. We're going to contact you about that anyway, but go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a lot of people at work are asking me about this in relation to UFOs. Could it be a UFO?
Right.
And I honestly don't think so, but I have to say that there is a long history of UFO plane encounters, and many, many cases actually in which planes have been taken and inside UFOs. A very famous case occurred actually in Australia, in that area, involving a small plane. The pilot was Frederick Valentich, and he was reporting a UFO, radioing in, saying it's metallic, it's not a plane, and his plane disappeared and was never found. So there's a number of other cases. The case that actually got me interested in UFOs occurred in 1986, involving a Japanese airliner who saw a UFO over Alaska, which was circling his plane in such an alarming way, he requested an emergency turn. So I thought, when I heard about this turn on the Malaysian jet, I thought of all these other planes that had made emergency turns. One over Long Beach had to do an emergency dive when a UFO appeared in front of him. The stewardess broke her ankle, a couple of passengers broke their arms. So it was a big deal, and there's not one or two of these cases. These are all over the place.
Yeah.
Here, get this. Just last year, a major Chinese passenger airliner apparently struck a UFO. It hit the tip of the cone, and you can actually go online and see these photographs of this injured jet, this damaged jet. And they don't know what did it. They have no idea. It was something hit it. They don't know what it was.
Yeah, it's amazing. When that plane went missing, and I'm going to say missing because I don't think they still have a real clue. I mean, I was kind of under the weather the past couple days, so I haven't been too much on the computer, much less watching television. But I think a lot of people thought right away UFO, because when they saw the oil slick in the water, which appeared to be that of when a plane goes down, and when they tested it and it wasn't jet fuel, and then they thought they saw pieces here, and then it wasn't, and then it zigzagged. It's just too many weird things that went on. So time will tell.
Yeah, well, the UFO can account for all the evidence. I mean, say it collided into a UFO and damaged the entire electrical system, and caused the jet to wander, without the pilot being able to contact anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. I don't think that's what happened. I don't know. We'll see. But who knows?
I hope not.
God knows. But
pick them up, and it's a mystery right now, and there's nothing more serious than the people that were on board, and as well as the families that are worried about them. So let's hope that there's some type of positive outcome from it. So speaking of up in the sky and all those things that go floating around, let's talk about your book, Out of Body Explorations, I believe that's the name of it, because it's the only one I don't have. What made you decide to write the book?
Well, this is actually my only, what I would call, autobiographical book, because it's mostly about my experiences. And in 1984, my mother died. It was devastating. I did not believe in life after death. I think my whole family was pretty skeptical of all these kinds of things. And this sort of tied into my, getting involved with UFOs as well. But I saw her ghost at the service, and didn't believe it, thought I must be hallucinating. Started having some very vivid dreams in which she'd come into my room and say, everything's okay, I'm all right. And I'd be like, oh no, you're dead. I thought I was awake. And it turned out this was a false awakening. So that got me interested in dreams. And then what happened is I picked up this book by Robert Monroe. He's a leader actually in this field of out-of-body journeys and astral travel. And the book was about his experiences. It was called Far Journeys, and in the end of the book, he gave some exercises. I was just barely open-minded enough to try it, and they worked. They worked really well. It took me about a month or two of really doing it. Not just a little bit, actually really trying these things, which were basically, in a nutshell, relaxation, mental exercises and visualizations and affirmations and things like this. But it worked really well for me, and I started having these out-of-body experiences, which I was terrible at in the beginning, but gradually got better, and eventually had some really amazing experiences. So I really got inspired by it.
What do you consider? What exactly? Let's pretend. Well, it's not a pretend. Kim and I are. What is out-of-body experience 101 class? Could you explain that to us?
Well, yeah, an out-of-body experience, basically the theory is that we have a physical body and an astral body, a dream body. And if you actually look into this, it turns out we have not just that, but 7 bodies, which I know how that sounds. It's a little strange for sure, but we have what's called a physical body, an etheric body, an astral body, an akashic body, a causal body, a buddhic body. It goes on. And these are all finer and finer bodies. The physical body is actually the most inferior of the bodies. The astral body has a lot more powers. It can do a lot more things. It never ages. It's a superior body in pretty much every way. But we're projecting down into our physical body is actually the truth of the situation, and our home is in the astral planes. So an out-of-body experience is the experience of perceiving yourself as separate from your body. And in an out-of-body experience, basically, it's very much like a near-death experience, but without having any trauma. It happens spontaneously, or you can learn how to do it. Most people have at least 1 or 2 of these types of experiences in their life, though the truth is everybody has them every night. They just don't remember. So the real trick is remembering. And yeah, basically, when you go out of body, you can travel to distant locations. You can do all kinds of things that you wouldn't normally be able to do, such as go into other dimensions, visit deceased loved ones, visit the past and the future, visit your spirit guides. This is crazy stuff.
I did some research on this. For example, I look up astral planes. Okay, now it's the kind of word that you hear about all the time, but you don't really know the real definition to it. And when I was done reading about the astral plane, I got the visual of, remember the movie with Jimmy Stewart, It's a Wonderful Life?
Right.
And in the beginning, there's Clarence the angel, and he's like in space, and he's talking to God. You're like in this like floating thing, and that's what I was getting, the visual image of astral plane. And I thought, wow, what a cool concept. If it's like an area, I think they were saying that it's like a sphere, a planetary sphere. It's crossed by, like you go through with your soul, between the time you're born and the time that you die, it's like this certain state. I don't know, the way they explained it, they said like angels and things hang out in there.
It's the green
Well, there's
room.
all kinds of different dimensions, and we all have spirit guides that follow us around, and a lot of our life is much more guided than people realize. As far as accidents and things like that, that's kind of an illusion, because the truth is, it's much more carefully planned than that. And but yeah, we all have out-of-body experiences. It's our God-given right, and this is something we can do so easily, and it changes your life. I just cannot tell you how much this has changed my life.
I can imagine. Kim, you were getting ready to say something there.
Yeah, it blew right out of my head.
It went out. Okay. How can people decipher between an out-of-body experience and a dream?
This is a great question, because the truth is they're very much related. And a lot of dreams are kind of half-remembered out-of-body experiences. And if you can actually become lucid in the dream state through various exercises, which is basically becoming conscious in the dream while you're dreaming, it becomes much clearer. But the difference is, in a dream, you're hallucinating. You're projecting an environment around you. It's not real in the sense that everyone... Well, it gets confusing, because the truth is, on the astral planes, you can create things. There are certain zones, I'll call them, or areas, where you can create almost anything you want just by thinking about it. Thought is very, very powerful on the astral plane. So, out-of-body experiences is basically just the process of becoming aware while you're dreaming, and you'll definitely know it when it happens to you. I mean, you can turn around and look at your body. You have a silver cord, which will lead back to your physical body. So it becomes very apparent the first time it happens to you.
Well, I got a deep question. You mentioned about you can visit your deceased, like family, friends, those kind of people. What if, when you're out there, okay, and you're in this state, what if you decide up here, I'm not going back? Is that what that silver cord's for? I mean, seriously, like I lost my parents, and there isn't a day that goes by that I don't miss them terribly.
Right.
And let's just say I was lucky enough to be able to do this, and I come across all of my family that have gone, and there's my mom and there's my dad. And now I'm married and I have kids, so I mean, there's a reason for me wanting to come back. But if I didn't, am I able to break that cord?
No. And believe me, I actually know exactly what you're talking about, because I've been up there visiting my mom and talking to her and not wanting to leave, and it pulls you right back. Basically, you're not going to die until you've finished your life mission, or until you're unable to complete your life path. That sort of thing is a very cosmic thing when someone dies. It's not an accident. And I don't know of any case like that. I don't know of any case where anyone's been lost or possessed or hurt. The very worst thing I found, that for some people say that they have scary experiences. Because there is a fear barrier involved with this, and your fears can kind of manifest if you're not careful. And it can be a little scary for sure. I remember the first time I popped out, no, actually the second time. The first time I was super excited. I couldn't believe it. Second time I popped out, I thought, uh-oh, I've died. This is not fun. This could be bad news. And I dived back into my body, and I realized, oh, I did it again, and I was super excited. And yeah, there is a fear barrier, but it's...
Gotcha. Kim,
Okay, I got a question here. And I tried posing it last night, and apparently it confused the heck out of some people. So I never really got a straight answer, except for by Eric. When you're astral traveling, is it possible to time travel at the same time, to either go back or forward?
Yes, and it's so cool. And this is one of the most amazing things, because time is different on the astral planes, and the higher up you go, it kind of compresses. And there's no such thing as space or time, really, and so it's hard to describe, but for me, you could visit past events for sure and kind of be there and look at them. And you can also visit future events. And how I would remember it was every time I came back from one of these astral journeys, I would have what I would call precognitive dream. And so this is really cool, because what happens is you have this really amazing experience while you're technically asleep, right? But you're awake. So you're awake like all night long doing all this incredible stuff. Then you wake up and you have this memory of this dream, and the dream plays out before you in waking life. So suddenly the real world has become much more dreamlike, because you actually, predicted it, and the dream world has become much more real. In fact, the dream world, that's another point I want to make, is these astral planes are much more real than the physical world. This is like a watercolor painting. It just doesn't even compare. It's a shadow. The colors there on the other side are like neon. They're electric, and they sparkle, and they leap out at you. And the air there, it sparkles and it hugs you and it loves you, and you cannot be in a bad mood on these, at least these upper astral planes. So it's just amazing. And no, you can't cut your silver cord even if you wanted to, because believe me, I'm like, I want to stay. And no.
Well, I had to ask, because Kim and I, we had interviewed, do you know Marie D. Jones and Larry Blackman? Preston, have you heard of them?
Oh yeah, Marie Jones, yeah. I know well, actually.
Well, we had them on, and they had written a book, I believe it's called This Book is from the Future, and it had to do with time travel. And, there's all these different theories by all these different people, and there's kind of like, I call them stop valves, that you can't go into the future and you can't make changes to things. It's kind of like it prevents you from changing the past to affect the future, if that makes sense. And that brings me to a question about past lives.
Right.
And you had mentioned something that you can learn about your past lives. And I thought of their book, believe it or not, because I'm thinking, if you have the ability to go into these areas and you're viewing your past lives, does that mean that you jump back into your past life, or you're just observing? Because if you jump back into your past life, it might make you be tempted to change some of the mistakes that you did. And if you do that, you're altering the future.
Well, this is a very interesting subject, and yes, you can actually pop it back in. And in some cases, it depends. You can observe it from kind of a distance. You don't lose your sense of identity. And as far as changing the future or anything like that, reality is much weirder than I thought. There's these things called probabilities. So when you do something like that, you're creating another probability line. You're not erasing the future. You're going to experience everything and all of its ramifications and all these different probabilities, not just the one timeline that we have. So reality is much more expansive, I think. This is what I'm finding out. So you can experience all this stuff that never really happened, but in another reality it is actually happening. So it gets a little confusing, but you can...
Yeah, it does.
When you talk about past lives, they're kind of all occurring simultaneously. So that's also a little bit hard to wrap my mind around completely. But apparently they're all occurring at the same time. So there's sort of a give and take between them. And what's really interesting is, when you pop out of body, you can do all these kinds of things. And one of the things that I like to do was call out to see a past life. And I've seen a number of them. And it's so exciting, because you're like, this is really interesting. What does this have to do with me in this life, and all these kinds of things. And what I found fascinating was it often takes you to the most emotional or traumatic scene in that lifetime, the one that you really remember, kind of, which often is a death scene, where you died in that life, but not always. And,
I don't know that well, maybe, you know what, maybe I would want to know that kind of stuff, because they say people who may have drowned, they don't like to go swimming. You know, if they drowned in their past life, or fire, they died in fire, or whatever. I mean, they say that there's reasons why you have certain things that you're not real thrilled about. And I don't want to get into a path. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Phobias are a definite pointer to past lives, absolutely. But so are interests and talents. So there's all these things that you can actually look at in your waking life to kind of find out about what kind of past lives you have.
Yeah, that's true. Kim and I, we had interviewed a guest a while back, Michael Esposito, and he presented a theory. Kim, if you want to bring that up, about past lives and things.
No.
You're not helping me here. He talked about, and it's a theory, how we didn't really have past lives, but it's information that gets passed down through our DNA.
It's an echo. He said it was like an echo from our ancestors.
Well, you know, we don't really know a whole lot about past lives. The evidence for it is very persuasive, for sure, because people have, young children have been able to provide information that they don't know. There's a number of really well-attested cases, and also there's a lot of cases involving evidence with scars and things like this, where a person will have, or a birthmark, where a person will have a birthmark in the same place that they remember being shot in another life, or speared by an arrow, or what have you.
Right.
So there's some really remarkable physical evidence, but I don't know. You know, I don't know if I can buy that or not, because you really experience. I don't know. You know, we just don't know.
It makes you think, because, you know, take animals, for example. I have to get animals into the subject at some point throughout the show. Is, you know, everything that they do is through instinct. And that's, you know, a lot of them, it's just, I'll give you a perfect example. I had a cat, and I also have one now. This cat is long gone. But she didn't do it all the time, but once in a while, when she would eat, after she was done eating, I have placemats that I keep their food bowls on. She would scrape at the placemat as if she was trying to cover her food, just like lions do, you know, out in the wild there when they're done eating, or they don't want to eat it yet. They scrape stuff over their food. Now, she's never seen that done. She doesn't need to do that. She's in our house, and yet she would do that all the time. So it does, when people put those kind of theories out there, it does make you think.
Well, yeah, certainly we've heard about that separated identical twins who had an unbelievable amount of similarities in their lives, even though they were separated at birth. So there's definitely some genetic predisposition going on in our behavior, no doubt.
Do you think that people with psychic abilities have a better chance of having out-of-body experiences versus somebody who doesn't? Although I'm a believer, I'm going to contradict myself here, I'm a believer that most people do have psychic abilities, they just don't use them.
Right, and I agree, and I'm so glad you brought this subject up, because I was very skeptical of psychic experiences and psychics growing up, even though at like age 12, I had a really remarkable experience, which with my sister, who I always remind her of it so that I have a witness. Because what happened was we were watching this TV show called Treasure Hunt. It was a game show in which there was, you know, all these different games and prizes, and there was a check hidden in one of these boxes out of, you know, 1 out of 100 and 150. But at any rate, I knew who was going to be picked in the audience. I knew all the answers to the whole show all the way through. I even knew which box the check was in. And we just laughed and laughed. You know, we were little kids. We didn't know what was going on. And it was a really remarkable experience. But I was still skeptical, and was all my life until I started having these out-of-body experiences. And that woke me up psychically to an unbelievable degree, to where I was having not only precognitive dreams, but like waking visions. And just crazy psychic stuff. And I think, yes, people who are psychic are probably going to find an easier time of this, but anybody can do it. And if you do it, it totally wakes you up psychically, and it's wonderful. It's just amazing.
Sorry, I had a cough. I just had this question that was so far out there, and it's got to come back. Kim, do you have one that you wanted to know? It was a good one. And then I had to go look at the chat room about your game. Somebody in the chat room actually mentioned that they were thinking of that game just the other day. It was their favorite show, that Treasure Hunt. See what happens when you read a chat room? It totally throws you off.
Yeah.
Those weird coincidences. There's a lot of that when you do.
Not when it comes to Robin Marie. She probably was reading your mind before you even thought about it.
well, let me just tell you how this all went down for me, because in the beginning, it was a little scary, and it was very disorienting, because for me, I would always, what's very interesting is the astral body is also called the emotional body, or the desire body, and you'll never understand what that means really until you pop out, and you feel how powerful your emotions are when you're out of body. And a lot of people have this, like I said, a really strong fear reaction. And for me, I had the opposite. I was so excited, just so unbelievably overjoyed that I'd done it, I would fall unconscious. And I tell you, it took me months before I could stay conscious more than a few seconds and do any kind of exploring at all. And I finally worked my way up to a couple of minutes, and I was able to do all kinds of stuff. I was able to get proof that these weren't dreams by going to distant locations and observing, and then going there in the physical and confirming what I saw and what I could not have known about otherwise. So I know these are not dreams, and you can walk through walls. It's funny, you're not physical, so you can't hurt yourself, and it's very kind of hard to get used to these kind of things. You're trying to open doors, and you're like, oh, I'm a ghost. And I'm flying around the house, and I see telephone wires. And it took me a long time just to get the courage to fly through the telephone wires and things like this. And what's really interesting, in the beginning, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And I visit my friends, and I fly over the freeways, and I fly over the house, doing all this fun stuff. But what happens is you start to slip into the other dimensions, and it's very hard to stay in the physical plane, because the astral body isn't really physical.
Well, when you do this, do you give yourself time in between? Because it does sound like it would be totally draining.
No, it's the opposite. It gives you so much energy, and you feel like you come back and you feel like you could levitate. And people have, actually. I've never been able to do it. But I come back, I'm like, yeah! You feel so good. You feel
I
so
guess
good.
so. See, Kim, we should start practicing this so we can come visit each other.
Right?
Kim's in Texas, and here I am in Pennsylvania, and we never get to see each other that much.
Oh, you can definitely do it. I've had some limited success doing that with my sister-in-law, but not a whole lot. It's hard to do, actually, unless you're pretty good at it. But definitely, absolutely possible. And I just wanted to mention, when you go out of body, I found 20 different cases, mind you, of people who've been healed of physical illness as a result of their out-of-body experience. And they're healed of chronic conditions, such as liver disease and all kinds of things, to much more minor conditions like colds and flus and backaches and all kinds of things. So it's
why do you think that is?
Because the astral body, like I said, is kind of a superior body, and the physical body is mirrored after it. So when you access your astral body and these astral energies, it sort of clears the energy blockages that cause illness, the conflicting beliefs, the negative emotions that are kind of festering in your energy matrix, I guess, and you come back more patterned as your astral body actually is. This is kind of my theory, and I've done a lot of research on this too, actually. But I think that's what's going on, is you're accessing these astral energies and repatterning your body from where it's supposed to be back into where it is now. It's not quite mirroring here on the physical plane how beautiful and wonderful it is in the astral plane. It's like when I pop out of body, all my hair comes flowing back. I'm pretty much bald, mostly, but I pop up there and it comes growing back. It takes about a second. And it's so cool. You know, in your hands, you can look at them and they're blemish-free, and you can move so quickly. You can fly, and you can do you can do telekinesis and teleportation, and just wonderful things.
Okay, I have a question, and yes, it's based off a movie, which is kind of silly, but it kind of makes you think. When you're older, you can decide, okay, say, I'm going to go visit Mary, and do my little astral traveling toward Mary, and, you know, visit and come back. But if a child is doing the astral traveling, is it possible for them to get lost?
No, and that's a great question. You can't get lost because you have this silver cord, and it will pull you back. And it takes an instant to do it. And if ever you feel afraid, you're drawn back immediately, pretty much. And if you're not, you know, all you have to do is wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, blink your eyes, shake your head, or even think about your physical body, and that'll bring you right back. But no, there's no danger of getting lost or going too far out, or getting possessed, or getting trapped, or getting hurt. All the evidence I've been able to uncover shows the opposite. That's a very healing experience in a number of different ways. You can work out a lot of your mental issues even. You know, if you've got a lot of fears, if you've got a lot of anxieties, this is a great place to work them out. You can pop out of body and create all these. It's funny, for me, I would be overcome by gluttony. I would create these feasts of brownies and chicken and sour cream and onion potato chips. I love those. Neapolitan ice cream. I'd gorge myself on this stuff, and it tastes so real. It kind of disappeared halfway down my throat. Kind of weird, but I loved it. And to get a little, even personal about this, I would.
Now this is the wait. Don't get too personal here.
It is only Monday.
Well, I'm just saying, I would become overwhelmed with, erotic feelings as well. And so I had to deal with that. And that's a whole other thing. This is why it's called the desire body, because you have to work through all these kind of emotional issues before, you can move on to the funner stuff, contacting your deceased loved ones, your deceased pets. Oh, I can tell you about that. It's so amazing.
Yeah, that would be one of the things that I would like to experience. I mean, I experience them in a different way, but to be able to touch them, and you can't.
Absolutely. In fact, this is one of the easiest ways to go out of body is when you have what I call a love bridge. And this works with anyone who's deceased that you have a love relationship with. And it makes it so much easier. And you can do it through dreams. But if you're able to become conscious, you can actually meet them consciously on the other side and talk and touch them and hug and do all these wonderful things. And I remember when my dog Maxine died, I would have an out-of-body experience, and she would come running up to me, and she'd lick me once. She never licks you unless she's very happy. And but she gave me one lick, and over and over again, she'd visit me. And finally, this is bizarre, but I found out that I'm not the only one who's had this experience. She started talking. She said, "Hello," and "Hi, Preston," and things like this. So that was really shocking to me, and it took me a long time reading to find other accounts, but there are several accounts of that where animals will actually talk on the other side. So it's wonderful, and every time I've had a pet that's died, I've been able to go and visit them, and same for humans as well, actually. So it's a wonderfully comforting experience in terms of life after death and the grief that you have.
Go ahead, Kim.
I was just going to say, I would think having one of my old dogs sit there talking to me would be a little weird.
Yeah, it is.
Well, to you, maybe.
Shocked me. It shocked me.
That's true. Well, I had asked you earlier, can anybody do this? Because if, in fact, that people other than people with psychic abilities. I was thinking about this earlier, how here we are, we're doing this show tonight via Skype. I talked to Kim Daly, and most times it's not always webcam. We usually type back and forth, but we communicate through Skype. And in a good portion, yeah, we sit here and we look at each other. And I'm getting a visual of all these people mastering the ability to have out-of-body experiences, and all I could equivalent to is like Skype. You know, this was so unheard of years ago, being able to do this, communicate with people. And now, if we're able to train ourselves to have out-of-body experiences, how cool would that be to hook up? Like, for example, let's just say I want to go to Santa Catalina Island, and even if I'm only there for a moment, is it possible to bring somebody along with me?
Well, two people can visit a location, absolutely. And some people, and this is very rare, claim to have actually been able to move physical objects. And there are some weird, like, apports where people will bring objects back from the astral plane and this kind of thing, but that's very, very rare. But you can absolutely visit if you're both out of body at the same time. And yeah, anyone can do this. It's, like I said, your God-given right. Everyone is doing it. You're doing it already. You're just not remembering. So this is all about remembering. And that's basically how you do it, is you start writing down your dreams and remembering your dreams as much as possible and trying to become lucid within the dream state. And actually, you know, the main obstacles to doing this is skepticism. A lot of people think, oh, I can't do it, you know, or I don't believe it. Or fear. Oh, it's too scary, you know, I'm scared. It's not scary, for one thing, because you pop out and it's the most beautiful, freeing, wonderful feeling you have ever had, flying through these astral planes. And laziness is another obstacle. People just don't take the time to do it, you know. So if you put forth a little effort, you can do this. The only qualification is desire and effort. You don't have to be super healthy. Doesn't matter if you're sick. It can actually be done under the influence of alcohol and drugs, though that deadens it to a considerable degree in terms of, you know, your consciousness becoming clear. So yeah, anyone can do it, and it's very easy to do. And basically involves 3 simple steps of physical relaxation, mental relaxation, and the third step is affirmations and visualizations.
I would think drugs and alcohol would also alter your destination slightly.
Yeah, I don't recommend doing it that way. You know, there are Native Americans who use peyote and things like this and there are mushrooms and things like this that do cause that sort of thing, but you don't need to take them. You can actually just relax your body. The whole key is physical relaxation. But the first step is where I think most people fail, because they just don't relax enough. You know, even when we're sleeping, a lot of people are grinding their teeth or clenching their fists, we're tossing back and forth. We're not physically relaxed fully, even when we're sleeping. So the trick is really taking a good 20 minutes even in your armchair or your bed, a nice comfortable place, and physically relaxing each muscle group up and down at least 3 times until you're at a state where you start to feel, you know, one of a number of sensations, including heaviness or lightness or numbness or tingling. You kind of want to get to the point where you're not quite sure what position your limbs are even in. And if you can reach this state called the vibratory state, which feels kind of like an electric shock, really. It's sort of that feeling you get when you jerk when you sleep, when you're falling asleep or, you know, waking up. But it's continuous, and that's actually, you're primed, you're ready to go. It's all about physically relaxing.
So you're talking about, you know, when you fall asleep, and then all of a sudden you jump like in your sleep. Are you coming back in?
Yeah. Or going out, or you're just kind of just popping out for a split second.
Okay.
sort of thing.
I've had that happen. I mean, I'm not saying every night. It might be like once a month. But you get the sensation in your sleep that you're falling. And then,
right.
You kind of catch yourself. So that would make sense.
It's a great sign. That means you can do it easily. You probably have try it a couple of times and boom, you're out. And what you do when you pop out is you want to have an intention. And this will make it much easier for you. You want to say, I want to see my mom, or I want to see my pet, or I want to see my spirit guide. Take me to a past life. I want to go to the Akashic plane, or take me where you think I need to go, which is always a good one because that's really surprising. So yeah, there's all kinds of things you can do.
Well, I wasn't going to bring up the Akashic plane because it's kind of intense, and we only have like a minute or two left before we have to say goodbye. But we're just measly old humans here, okay? Are we ready to be able to go and look and see of everything that has gone on and is going on throughout time, visiting there?
Yeah, I think we are, and I think that this is something that's inevitable, that everyone's going to start doing this eventually. Certainly, in this lifetime, it's not going to be everyone's life path. You can beat them over the head, they're just not going to be interested, or they're going to be terrified because they're not spiritually ready. But when you're ready, it's going to happen, whether you like it or not. So I think absolutely that it's inevitable that everyone does this. And no, there's no danger, because again, we're doing it anyway. And if you can just remember everything that's happening to you at night, that's the trick. Is throughout the day, you want to ask yourself, am I dreaming? And when you're dreaming, actually, at night, you'll ask the same question, and it'll wake you up. And that's the super trick to doing this. And I wish everyone would try. Just try it. Please, you'll love it.
Well, you never know. I might come knocking on your head while you're sleeping. One last question. If everybody is serious and they want to try it and they start to get into it, are there any dangers to this at all?
No, there's no dangers, like I said, that I could find, really, except for it's a little scary at times. But you can always get back to your body, you won't get lost, there's no danger of possession. Everything I found shows that it's been a very positive experience for people. Back in the very, very early accounts talked a lot about how careful you should be doing this sort of thing. But we all have a spirit guide. And if you're going to be doing this, your spirit guide is going to be right next to you, helping you along, even if you don't see them. They're there. So there's no real danger to doing this at all. And in fact, it's the opposite. So many benefits. You not only get to experience much more of your life, but you become remarkably psychic. You get to learn about your past lives. You lose your fear of life after death. You don't have to grieve in the same way, because you can actually visit these people. And, it's amazing. It changes your life.
Sounds good. Kim, did you have any more questions before we have to sign off here?
Well, Cynthia had a question in the chat room, but I think it was kind of already answered. She wanted to know if children would be able to travel easier because they're not tainted by adults.
Well, children can actually do this very easily because they're much more connected to the astral planes. So they're very good at this.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. That kind of went back to my earlier question about them getting lost.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Preston, we are out of time, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was very enlightening, and gives me a little bit of hope that I might be able to do this.
You can, yeah. Thanks for having me on. I love this subject, and I could talk for hours on it. I really recommend that you at least give it a try, and you'll be surprised.
So you want to mention your new book coming out again, and when it's coming, and when it does come out, where they can look for it?
Yeah, you can go to my website, which is my name, PrestonDennett.weebly.com, or you can just Google my name. It'll take you to my website. I have all my books there and excerpts, and you can contact me through my website. And this book we've been talking about tonight is Out of Body Exploring, and that's on the website. I have a new book coming up the end of the year called UFOs over Nevada, which follows up my series of books on various states like California, New York, New Mexico and working on others. So got lots of research to do, and I'm very excited about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us, and you know we're going to nab you sometime in the future.
I hope so.
You will. We'll be back on. Well, it was nice talking to you, and take care.
Thank you, Preston.
My pleasure. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, Kim, where do we want to go next?
Hawaii.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about going to Hawaii.
That's right. We're going to
I think
Maui.
I want to go to Santa Catalina Island first.
No, we're going to Maui and playing in the waterfalls.
Okay, that works for me. And if we go through astral traveling, remember what he said? He grew hair. I'll be real thin and can wear a bikini, and we don't care, and we'll be having a great old time.
And we'll both be 20. What?
Yep, that's right. That's right. Anyway, what do we got going on? Oh, next week we don't have anything going on. We're going to take the week off with a live show, and we will have a really good show on next week. I'm not sure which one it is yet, but it'll be a good one.
Yes, because Mary will be returning home from the Shanley on Monday.
That's right, from the Shanley Hotel, which I still can't believe it's this weekend.
I know.
Anyway, like I said, I'm not sure if there are any more rooms left. If there are, www.shanleyhotel.com. Click on the event, scroll down to Mary and Mark, and book your spot. But if the rooms are all booked, we certainly will make room if you want to come knocking on the door and want to do the investigation with us. So that's it for us. And the following week we have...
I just looked at it. I
know.
just looked at it. Isn't that horrible? Tracy Ray Ramsey and Keith Ramsey from Deep South Paranormal.
Okay. And Friday night, what do you have going on Friday night?
Tracy Ray.
Tracy Ray and Keith Ramsey.
All over everybody. Anyway, stay tuned. Later tonight, we have Arwen coming on at 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
And her special guest is Reverend Robin Marie.
Then that'll be a good show.
The Peep Artist.
Okay. Well, I think that's it for us. However, before you close down your computers tonight, mosey on over to Metaluna, Boutique and Stones, and grab yourself something really cool.
Absolutely. And then, even before that, mosey on over to ShanleyHotel.com and see if there's any openings for this weekend.
Works for me.
And if you can't do any of that, go donate to Fort Mifflin.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
Donate to Fort Mifflin regardless.
Yes. Yes.
And with that, we are out of here. Mary.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Officers' quarters.
That's
think
right.
The Shanley Gentlemen's Quarters. That's
right.
The yellow building where Elizabeth Pratt is supposed to be part of one of the haunts that's there. So they're thinking it was an electrical fire. And thank God that there was a Cub Scout troop there, and the troop leader I believe was a fireman, so he knew exactly what to do, and he called the fire department, and they got there pretty quickly. So.
Well, according to what I read this morning, it was actually an electrical fire in the attic.
Yes. And you know those attic fires are the worst because they spread a lot quicker than, say, like a corner in a room. Yeah,
because they go across the attic and then they go down.
Exactly. But speaking of the gentlemen's quarters, on a brighter note, Shanley Hotel, March 20th. Hey, that's this weekend. March 29th.
It is.
Yes, I will be there hosting an event along with Mark Sarrow. So I don't know if there's any tickets left. I should have asked Sal. If there isn't, I'm sure there's a few where you can come and do some investigation. And don't miss out. Don't be looking in. You want to be looking out.
Well, and on other news, our little Miss Luna looks like she's about to...
Yes, I have. Yes. And who does the oils for you?
Ruth Coffee.
Give her a little plug.
Ruth Coffee.
Ruth Coffee.
It's
Yeah,
called.
she's wonderful. As everybody knows, I've got bad knees, and I got some of the chronic pain oil from Kim, and I rubbed that on, and it seems to have been helping lately. So, that's a good idea. And I do believe that all of her stuff is like, if you lick it, you're not going to die.
Right. It's all natural, but with the animal stuff. Last week she brought in the dog baskets, and they've got like a stuffed animal head, a bunny, a duck, and something else. And it's got little dog treats in there and a little comb. And then today she brought in cat ones that had, I think it's a can of either cat food or cat treats. A little ball that makes all kinds of noise. And a little catnip sack.
Oh, how nice. Oh, I'll have to check one of those out. So cool. So, and where, if people want to get this online,
Hi everybody, and welcome to Just Saying. It is March 24th, 2014, and I am joined here, as I am every week, by my lovely, vivacious co-host, Mary. Hi, Mary.
hello, Kim. I don't know that I'd call myself too vivacious tonight, but we'll think of something else by the end of the show you can call me. So how are you?
I'm lovely.
Awesome. The spring is here. We made it. We got this far. Now we just have to tell Mother Nature that it's springtime.
Right? We're 4 days in. She needs to eat her chocolate, get over her PMS, and move on with herself.
That's true. Any temper tantrums she already pulled, and so let's get into the nicer weather. Just looking around, you can tell spring's in the air. The robins. Oh, you can't even see my front yard for the robins that are all out there. And I noticed today that some of the trees have buds on them, and that's like, I like spring. What can I say?
Yeah, I have little bitty white flowers popping up all over the front of the store, and I have some Indian paintbrushes about that big so far. And
well, speaking of your store, I hear you have a new section in your store now.
I do, and it was added to today. We actually have a pet section now. That we have like little, right now it's Easter basket type things for dogs and cats. And then we have the collars, and there's an arthritis medicine for pets, and then there's another oil for strained muscles on pets and horses.
Oh, awesome. I like that arthritis thing because I run across a lot of people that contact me in regards to their dog has arthritis. And for those of you out there that have dogs and have been treating it, the medication is more expensive than people arthritis medication. So to be able to use those things, that's great.
Well, and you've used some of the oils, so you know they work.
How do they do that?
They go to MetallunaBoutiqueandStones.com.
Awesome. Anyway,
we're going to have...
We have, before we start the show, and bring in our guests, we have something serious that we need to talk about. It's something that happened yesterday at a place that's near and dear to us.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, many of you that travel the world of Facebook would have woke up to some disturbing news that Lorraine Irby had posted about Fort Mifflin. They had a fire there Saturday night during the night that occurred in the officers' quarters. Now, I haven't talked to Lorraine personally. I'm going by what everybody's posting on Facebook. Oh, well, I haven't talked to her today, but there's some serious damage that's done, and they're still assessing it. So once plans get into place for helping to restore, I really hope that everybody chips in and does their best because we all love Fort Mifflin.
Absolutely. And
So
it was the gentleman's quarters. It was the one place we couldn't get into when I was there.
no, off